Good afternoon or good morning, everybody. I am Scott Gordon, the Senior Vice President of Global Delivery here at Vaco in Nashville, Tennessee. And this is a really special LinkedIn Live for me, as I've got sort of my office mate, building mate, if you will, Ashley Wilkinson, who is the Senior Director at Vaco here in Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to be spending about the next 30 minutes talking about how to continue your job search throughout the holiday season, which I know can be a great time for a lot of people, but if you're looking for a job, it could be a really stressful time. So I want to remind everybody that I prefer this to be as interactive as possible. There's a comment section over on your right-hand side of your page, I believe. So please let us know where you're watching us from and say hello. And particularly if you've got really good questions, or you've got any question for that matter, please drop those in the chat and I'll try to get to those during this time. Ashley, time is the most valuable thing we have. And once we spent it, we can't get it back. So I want to tell you, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, which I know is an extremely busy day, to be on here with us. So would you mind introducing yourself to all the people watching, no sweat, no pressure, around the globe? And tell everybody what your responsibilities are and how long you've been with Vaco and how did you come to us?
Yeah, so I actually have been with Vaco. It'll be 5 years on January 9th, which I can't believe it's already been that long.
Coming up, yeah.
It's insane. And my focus, I am Senior Director on the staffing division here at Vaco in the Nashville office. And I focus mostly within the HR sector. So human resources, payroll, benefits, administration roles. That's my sweet spot. Really my niche. I come from actually retail recruiting. I was with Wilkinson for a hot minute as their field recruiter, and loved it. And then Rachel Coram, swooned me, and here I am, and I love it.
Very nice. So talk to me about retail recruiting for a minute. And I know that you're in staffing, and for those of you that don't know, Vaco has all different sorts of divisions, from healthcare to technology to accounting and finance and retained search and all executive placement and all that sort of thing. So I think people are a bit confused because we are a staffing company. Staffing can encompass staffing pretty much encompasses everything, but sort of our own internal vernacular, if you will. So Ashley, tell me about and I know that you're no longer with retail, but I'm interested. So I want to know what's retail staffing, what types of positions are those? And then tell me a little bit about staffing the division that you're in Nashville.
So retail recruiting is a beast in and of itself, especially this time of year in the holiday world, because everyone is trying to beef up for the holiday season to make sure they're fully staffed. And in my previous life, I helped staff the store locations, anything that was a salaried position. And then I'd help create strategies when it came to how do we hire those hourly roles as well.
Yeah.
And then I also oversaw any position that would touch the stores in the field. So be that a regional HR manager, loss prevention, that was really kind of what I focused on. And I would assist in the corporate office too, wherever there was if we had a high demand, role, we really needed some extra hands on deck. And I had the privilege of being able to help take on the new store opening process as well. So whenever we opened up a new store, I was able to help identify, the new store managers and assist if we needed a new area manager and kind of what that reorganization looked like.
Sure.
And then here at Vaco, we do, again, like you said, everything. It's not just contract temporary work. We have, temp to hire as well as permanent placement. We help in every sector: transactional accounting, AP, AR, data entry roles, customer service roles, all the way up to VP of HR and C-suite positions. So we can pretty much help almost anyone out who's looking to make a career change and looking for a new opportunity.
And that's specifically in your group there. So are you doing, and I know the transactional accounting, HR, are you doing things like executive assistants, executive admins, that sort of thing? So,
That's been hot for us here lately. We've recently filled several executive assistant roles, high-level positions with companies. And also, too, in those roles, a lot of companies are looking for executive assistants to also be like a business partner. So it's more than just calendar management and traveling. It's like, hey, how can we be more of a strategic business partner in growing this organization? So they're looking for talent all the way up to that level, too.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, that's cool. So good. I'm glad you got out of the retail race and kind of joined us over here. I want to tell you that, and we're talking about where people are tuning in from. So I'm going to go through some of these: Orlando, Scottsdale, Kansas, Las Vegas, Atlanta, Holt, Michigan, India, Turkey, Cincinnati, Bombay, India, Miami, San Jose, Nigeria, Madagascar, Athens, Ohio, Irvine, Fort Lauderdale, Pasco, Washington, and another one from Athens, Ohio. So we've got quite a few people all over the world watching us. So again, thank you. So the next question for me, Ashley, is are companies hiring at this time of the year? And I think that one of the misconceptions is, or maybe I will assume that, or maybe other people may assume that, especially during this time of the year, that things tend to slow down because everybody's still kind of hungover from turkey and getting, you know what I'm saying, getting ready for Christmas and shopping. So what does the market look like, and are they really hiring right now?
They're really hiring. It is, traditionally, you kind of think this time of year it slows down, and this year is definitely different. It has not slowed down one bit. It's actually picked up a lot. We've gotten a lot of new orders. Just today, 2 of my team members have already, filled some roles today alone. So
why? I mean, how does that happen? Why now? Why, when everybody else is supposed to be, bedding down for their long winter's nap? Why is everybody hiring right now?
I honestly think the pandemic really kind of changed the mindset of companies, and a lot of companies did have to release a lot of people, and now they're back in the green. They're running really strong, and they're like, wow, we need to grow again because this is happening. And so there's not really that time to slow down. It's like, no, we got to get going, because yes, before you know it, 2022 is going to be here. Hate to say it, but we got a couple weeks now, and they know that they need to be fully staffed going into that year. So that's really the difference right now, I believe.
Okay, well, cool. Well, the next question is, what are some of the advantages of continuing your search throughout the holidays? What's in it for me if, while everybody else is, on the outside is slowing down? What's in it for me if I just decide to really heat up my search now?
Because a lot of your competitors aren't. And so with this being a candidate-driven market, you continuing your search is going to put you ahead of the game. You're going to be the one meeting when they aren't, when they're thinking, oh, I'll just pick up in January. If you're like, nope, I'm going to keep on the ground, like you're going to be seen. And so you're going to be the first one to interview. You're going to make that impression when everyone else is, sitting at home waiting for January 4th to hit. So that's why I highly suggest continuing going in your job search during this time, because a lot of people aren't.
Yeah, I think that, and I love that. I love that advice, and I love that idea. And I think that as a recruiter myself, and you as a recruiter, I think that, and even when we're talking to our managers within Vaco, and we want to set our goals for next year, for 2022, what we want to do as far as personally and business wise, people don't do that until after Christmas. Or they start right in January. So I think that or right at the back, it's 2022. We might as well come up with my New Year's resolutions. I think what you're saying is that it's a great idea if one of your New Year's resolutions is to find a new job in 2020 or 2022, rather, I've got pandemic brain.
We all do.
I don't know what I was thinking there, but 2022, I mean, the best time is to start before 2022, because like you said, everybody else is kind of relaxing right now.
Yep.
So
it's very true.
Well, that's I never thought about that. I mean, maybe, and I think it's always wise to start on those resolutions before that day.
It's true. And also too, a lot of companies right now are building out their plans for 2022, and they're looking at their headcount and their budget. And if they continue to meet people, they may say, oh, wait, we didn't think maybe we do need this director of operations. Do we need to revisit our budget? And then you never know what could happen. They could call you back like the end of December. Hey, we would like to have you join us. We adjusted so I just think it's all about networking and seeing, who you can meet, because again, with companies creating their budgets right now, they could build you in after meeting you.
So they're building their budgets for next year, but they could, and I think it's wise too, because I think these companies are realizing, and I'd say any company in the United States is realizing the demand for talent right now. So they're opening their next year budget now.
They are, yes. And so if they meet that top talent, they can build you in, which is why I highly suggest continuing to interview too.
Right. Good. Thank you for that. So we every time I do these, I talk to somebody from a different Vaco office all across the country. So I kind of want to talk specifically about some of the things that you're looking for in Nashville
Yep.
and the types of industries. But before I ask that, so if you just give me a kind of a round number. First of all, how many people are on your team in Nashville?
So right now I'm on a team of total, I believe there's 8 of us right now.
Okay.
So yeah,
So
4 recruiters, 4
okay,
sales, and our support staff.
I got it. So on that team of 8, how many open positions would you say? Yeah, that's it. It has to be just a roundabout question. How
Yeah.
many open positions are you currently working on now, or how many open positions is your team working on?
As an average, we tend to have anywhere between the 35 to 50, like on
Okay.
average, depending on time of year and what we're looking at. A lot of those are clients looking for multiples of the same role to staff into their company. But that's typically the average of what we roll here in the Nashville office.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many? So let's just take one position, like give me an example of one position that you've got.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so right now, one of the positions that we have is actually a VP of HR position that we're working on here in the Nashville office.
Okay.
And so it's one of our clients here in the Nashville market, and they're even open to relocating the right candidate. So, yeah.
So for a VP of HR position,
Mhm.
so you have sort of the standard operating procedure of what you do is that you hit your network first, and then you post the position for everybody to see and all of that.
Mhm.
How many applicants do you receive for one job?
Oh, Scott, let me tell you, right
Please,
now,
yeah.
I have this posted and I have over 200 ad responses for this position that
Really?
I'm working to go through. Yes,
Now,
sir.
how many of those 200, and
Mhm.
how many of those 200 are actually are feasible candidates for that
Yeah.
position?
I'm still working to go through them. Right
Yeah.
now, through the talent that I'm seeing, I would, to put a percentage on it, probably about 25%, just
Okay.
based on, what the background is of this company and what they're really looking for and what's important to them. So
Yeah.
maybe like 20 to 25% of the applicants are feasible candidates for the position.
What do you do with the other 75% that are not feasible?
I still like to touch base with them because I never
Okay.
know what could come across my desk down the road. And I'm just very transparent with my people. And I tell them, hey, I know you applied for this position due to X, Y, and Z. I don't think it's the best fit, but I would still love to connect with you and learn what you're looking for so that when I do get that right role, I'll know that I can call you.
I think
Um,
that that's so
yeah.
valuable to people that anybody that's listening or watching today, that just because you're just not to what I call paper hang, just sling resumes all over the place. If you're
Mhm.
close, I mean, certainly share your information with the recruiter or with Ashley or whomever you're working with. But um, it's Ashley. I love the fact that you can kind of take that approach, that it's not just I'm only going to talk to these 25%.
Yeah. Yeah, for
This
sure.
25%, that this other 25, this other 75. So what industries specific to
Mhm.
Nashville are hot right now? And that's what I say, like if you look at, say, Los Angeles, they're known for
Mhm.
entertainment and
Yeah.
that sort of thing, and Memphis is known for shipping and logistics, and St. Jude and all that sort of stuff. What industries are we known for here in Nashville? And I know
Um,
this and you know
yeah.
this, but I need everybody else to know.
Healthcare is huge, booming here in Middle Tennessee. Be that like large national brands in healthcare, but then
Yeah.
also here recently we've been getting hit up a lot by smaller boutique like healthcare offices needing
Yeah.
assistance as well. So here we just really see a strong presence in the healthcare arena.
Okay.
Yeah.
What so look at the mix of healthcare and
Mhm.
everything else. Can you give me some, if you were like to looking at a pie, is it
Okay.
75% healthcare and a mix of everything else, or?
Probably close to that, maybe a little less, because we get a lot of like other like niche companies as well.
Yeah.
Like this company looking for a VP of HR. They are kind of their own thing. So they're
Yeah.
kind of like a standalone entity thing, kind of hard to put on a pie. But I would
Yeah.
say out of the entire, maybe like 70, maybe 68%
Okay.
healthcare, and then the rest
Okay.
are like miscellaneous
Okay. All right.
organization.
Got it. Got it. Um, what are so say that I'm in that 25%
Mhm.
that you're going to call.
Yeah.
What do I need to do as a candidate to get to the top? How do I and what's the best way to, because I think that everybody thinks that the one resume is perfect. And so I'm going to send one really, really nice, cool email that's you're just going to just zone in on, or a LinkedIn message or whatever. How do I get to the top of your stack?
I think
What draws your eye to that resume?
For me, knowing that someone, if I look at a resume and I see that someone is in like Washington State, if they can address open to relocation, knowing that this role needs to be here in the area, that helps me know, okay, well, great. This person already has that as a plan. They're open to relocating. That makes it a fit already.
Yeah.
And then also, I know you said that one resume, but I think it's great to have multiple resumes depending on what you're applying for. So this position, through reading through the description I have posted, I would really I'm drawn to those candidates that have all those highlights that are kind of built into a summary, or their skills, or something quick that I can look at and see that, hey, this is great. Have their industries listed too. I've seen a lot of great resumes where it says like experience in XYZ industries. Like that kind of helps identify pretty quickly, like, does this feel like a viable fit, without having to read every paragraph within the resume, which when you get to a VP level, a resume can get pretty thick. Right. So you want to make sure you've got some highlights built out pretty quickly on the front page that can catch a recruiter's eye. Because that really can help put you to the top and be one of those first calls that get made.
Good. I like that. I think that you have those. I think everybody has their idea of what's a perfect resume, and especially when you get to that VP level or that senior level, at whatever that is, where they want to tell you everything that they've done since high school. Yeah. You know what I mean? It turns into a 9-page resume, and you just go, dude, I don't know what to do with this. I mean, this is cool that you worked at Baskin Robbins, but I don't know how that applies to this VP of HR role. So,
exactly. Keep it at least to what's your most recent experience that is applicable to what you're going for. You don't have to go all the way back to college. So
yeah. And I would used to look at, say, like the last 3 or 4 positions.
Yes.
If it's something that you did like in the early 90s, I don't know if that's going to apply now, unless you were a VP of HR back then, and then you went to work at Baskin Robbins. That'd be a cool conversation.
Yeah. And that's some things that I like to have conversations with, because sometimes we do get those clients where it's a very niche area, and I'll talk to the candidate that I'm interviewing, and they're like, oh, well, when I was in college, I did X, Y, and Z, and it kind of relates to that industry. Yeah. And in that case, I tell them, we don't have to put it on the resume, but it is kind of cool that you have that connection. And so that's on me at that point when I market the candidate to put an extra bullet point of, hey, fun personal side note, they have XYZ experience or exposure to this, and to kind of give the hiring manager oh, okay, well, not only do they have the skill set I need now, but they kind of have, experience in their former life. Maybe I need to chat with this person. So
great. This is all really good. I love the info that you're giving. So let's, so this is a 3-part question.
Okay.
What was the business like before the pandemic? Was it this busy before? Or was it just kind of, was it steady? Man, everything's going pretty good.
It was steady. We would have some slow moments. I will say this year, there hasn't really been a slow moment. So,
well, that was my next question. So if it was just kind of steady Eddie, average business, during the pandemic, and tell me what it was like for you all when, what your team in particular, when everybody went home.
Yeah.
And the pandemic hit. Tell me how, not only from and I know I'm personally, everybody kind of freaked out and kind of did that. So how was your team? How did your team react to that? And then how did your clients react to that? Yeah. And how did those candidates react to that? How did you handle it?
Well, I think I have one of the best teams I've ever experienced in my life. And I swear that I sing it from the rooftops. They're amazing. And we were just very supportive of each other. It was a weird time.
It really is.
It really was. I'll never forget Julie. She cracked me up because it was I was the Tuesday or something before it all happened. And she was packing up her desk. She's like, guys, I'll see you in a year. And we thought she was joking. I was like,
yeah.
And look at us now.
Right.
But, I feel like as a team, we adjusted pretty well in the fact that we continued to communicate. We would have daily meetings there in the beginning. And then when we finally kind of got our groove of, okay, well, this is how it's going to work, we kind of reduced it to twice a week, and then reduced it to, we're still at a twice a week meeting schedule right now. As far as the clients go, honestly, throughout the pandemic, I believe the lowest our job order list ever got that we were working on was about 5 or 6. So we were still working, and we still had
Yeah.
clients reaching out asking for help on things. And it just wasn't as, I mean, it picked up pretty quickly, to be honest. We
I
never
was about to say,
really,
at what point did people say, because you remember when everybody heard it's like need to get all the groceries to be at home for 2 weeks.
yeah.
You think, okay, 2 weeks, that's not bad. It'd be kind of cool to work from home for 2 weeks. And then everything just breaks loose and you don't go back into the office for 6 months. At what point after that did your clients start to see, okay, this is how we're gonna, this is the new business?
I honestly think
And
it
it
was
just zoomed.
probably maybe even like 3 or 4 months into it, because they were like,
Okay.
well, business still needs to operate. We need people.
Yeah.
And after that first massive, furlough or layoff kind of
Right.
happened, things started to pick up a little bit more. People about, 6 months in, people started to be like, okay, I just got to get out. I got to go. Like, I got to do
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And we noticed clients were like, yep, we just have to respond. Like, this is the new normal. And we just assisted them through that with a lot of, okay, well, this is how our team is functioning in a remote setting. We can help you guys. We can even help facilitate, interviews. We can make offerings for, Microsoft Teams, help you with Zoom, do anything we can to help them feel more comfortable in this space.
Yeah.
And luckily it has opened up the eyes of a lot of corporations that, hybrid and remote work is doable. And that's a big thing too with the candidates. They've noticed that's really important to them moving forward.
Well, somebody just asked the question, are companies willing to, well, hang on, let me get back to, there's a couple of questions that have come in, but somebody said, Renee asked, do you find having more remote positions more or less now going forward? So and I'm going to ask that a different way, and hopefully, Renee, we get this covered. So you look at, I would say, just pick 30 positions that you have. Mm-hmm. How many of those 30, or what percentage of those 30 actually allow remote?
I would say majority of them are actually hybrid, because they do want some on-site, just for culture purposes. They like to have at least like 1 or 2 days in.
I think
but I do
common.
have some.
I think that's common to have these hybrid roles now.
Yeah. But I am seeing clients being a little bit more flexible of like, okay, well, if this is like the perfect candidate for us, we will make it work. Now I will say for more like confidential roles with like payroll, sometimes those do require on-site, because you're handling so much, personal information.
Sure,
so we've seen a turn, that one's going back in office.
Yeah.
But for a majority of what we're working on, they seem to be more flexible in a hybrid situation. And especially, again, I work on a great team. And when we meet a great candidate that has the skill set this client is looking for, even though they may have told us we really want an office, like my team is happy to market them and say, hey, this is what you can get if you open your doors to remote.
Right.
And that's
are companies more receptive to that? Are they being, and I think because when you look at, say, staffing and healthcare and technology, I came out of the technology world, so everybody was pretty much remote anyway all the time. I wouldn't say all the time, but a lot of the time. So there were some industries that it put them on their ear. It just turned everything upside down. And I was particularly interested, not concerned, but interested in your division and your team and your clients, if they were going to be willing to do that. It's hard to have, it's hard to have an executive assistant, that's remote, or a VP of HR that's remote. But now it seems like what you're saying is that these clients they're more open to it now.
I think because we kind of had to. And so they're like, oh, wait, so now it is doable. Like that VP of HR position, it is a hybrid schedule. So they realize, okay, well, we can be on site for a lot of this, but then, you can work from home a couple of days a week as well. Yeah. Whereas before, a VP of HR, it was like, button seat, like you gotta be there.
Right.
So we are seeing that transition. Right, but at the same time, there are still clients that do still like button seat, but we're working on them.
Yes. Yeah, I got it. So, and the work still has to be done. Yeah. Just because we were all at home, and I mean, things still had to progress. Everything came to that screeching halt for just a short term, and then back after that, we had to keep going. So, one more question that came in that said, are companies willing to consider applicants that don't have the exact qualification that a company is looking for? So is there ever a perfect match for the perfect job description? And oh,
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Okay, I will say there's yes to all the above. Yes, they will accept candidates that don't match everything. And yes, there has been perfect applicants with the perfect resume and the perfect experience. But I've also seen those perfect people not get picked. So honestly, what I'm noticing too a lot of time is culture fit. So someone could be the perfect fit on paper. You could have the perfect experience, but if you don't match their culture or what they're looking for, you're not going to get the role. Whereas I've also helped people where, say, the job description says must have a bachelor's degree, and I've marketed a candidate who has, 7 to 10 years of experience in that field, but doesn't have a full degree, and they've landed the role. So it's truly about, it's more than just what's, I look at a job description as a wish list, right?
It's totally right. Totally right. It's like the list that you give Santa. We're sticking with the holiday theme now. It's your Santa, it's your Santa wish list.
So that's what a job description is, when you ultimately when you think about it, like that's their wish list of what they think they want. And sometimes a lot of companies don't really know what they want till they meet it. So they can put it on paper like this is, what we need skill set wise. But I think once they meet the right person, then they're like, oh, wait, like maybe we don't need this full degree, or maybe we can work with them on getting a certification instead. So there's different things like that. So I'd say yes to all the above, and I hope that answered well.
Yes, it did. That was perfect. That was perfect. So I told you we'd look up and time would have flown by.
Whoa.
Time has flown by.
Wow.
This has
been
right.
Like 10 minutes.
right. It's been almost half hour, but if I am a job seeker and I want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to reach you?
Please email me. My email is Wilkinson. So AWILKIN.
Oh, there it is. It's on the screen.
Oh, perfect. At vaco.com. So email me.
Yeah. Good.
And I'll do my best to help you. And even if it's not in my wheelhouse, I'll be happy to get you connected with hopefully someone who can help you. So
yeah, that's so awesome. So Ashley, what if I'm sitting in Tampa? Mm-hmm. Can you help me? Can you help me refer to me somebody in Tampa?
Yes,
or
I can.
Okay,
yes, we have offices across the nation. So reach out to me, and I can always try to get you connected with the closest office that's in your neighborhood.
Fantastic. It was so good hanging out with you today, and I really appreciate it. So I want to thank everybody for joining in, and that is it for this week's. I think it's this last year of LinkedIn Live. So Ashley, you're taking us out with a bang. So happy holidays to everybody, and it was so good to see you all. And certainly, if you have any questions, let us know. Hit Ashley up. You would be in very, very good hands with her. So Ashley, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you
for joining us today. And everybody else, happy holidays, and see you soon.
Bye.